What a frustrating Monday, but we got 15 more games. Let's talk some baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and man, oh man, Monday was not kind, that's for sure. Luckily, it was a small card, 0-2 with one being a half unit play, but still, it should have been 2-0. And with that push, or maybe 3-0. It was brutal. We'll go over the recap in just a little bit. Quick reminder, NBA Best Bets video is out now for Game 4 of Indiana and the Knicks, so be sure to check that out. And of course, any graphics you see in this video or other videos are from OUTLIER, the best betting research tool on the market today. I use this every single stinking day. Click that link below in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. So let's get into it. We got an MLB fun fact. So here we go. Do you know who the record for most career games with 7 or more RBIs is? It's Lou Gehrig. That's right. 9. 9 games of 7+ ribbies. That is pretty impressive, that's for sure. But in this video, we're going to recap yesterday, and then we're going to go over the good and bad hitter matchups, give you the pitcher strikeout matchups, and then, of course, we'll go over the full 15-game pitcher report, end it with some best bets, and the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community. Also, click that Discord link below. Completely free to join. We got 5,000 people in it talking sports every single day. All right, take a sip of that coffee. Let the baseball journey begin. All right, here it is. Let's talk about yesterday. Again, we do this so we know if the reads were there, where we messed up on, that kind of thing. I think it's important. But under 8 runs, Dodgers, Cleveland. It was at 8 runs going to the 9th. We'll just go to that part. And we lost it on a Will Smith solo bomb. The game ended 7-2. Okay, there's the deal. But here's the real deal. The whole part of that handicap was that the bats were going to go a little quiet, I thought, based on Dodgers on the road, Guardians at home, that kind of stuff. It didn't matter because Gavin Williams set a career high with 6 freaking walks. It is so irritating to lose bets on guys just walking hitter after hitter after hitter. He finally leaves the game. A reliever comes in his first inning, he walks a couple more. I mean, it was a bummer. So again, we still almost won, or at least pushed in the 9th inning if it wasn't for that Will Smith solo bomb. But just a frustrating loss. We had it for a unit. Still, I like the read. But you can't walk that many guys. That's just part of baseball. I get it. But Marlins money line. Let's move to the money line underdog. Now, we've lost 2 of these underdog money line plays. Again, they're always big plus money. But the way we lost, the White Sox lost in 9th inning. They were up by 1 on a blown save. Okay, that happens on these. And then Marlins money line. How about being up 3-0 in this game, and then giving up 2 runs because of an error? That's right. That's how the Padres got 2 runs because of a throwing error. Would have ended the inning. And instead, then they tied the game up with a solo home run in the 8th, and we lose in extra innings on a wild pitch. You can't make it up. But again, when you're betting teams like the Marlins and White Sox, things like this will happen. But either way, still loving the reads on these underdog plays when we're losing in the 9th, 10th, 11th innings. That's all you can really ask for. We're not losing, but being in the game. So, third one, we're not done yet. Under 5 runs in the first 5 innings, Pittsburgh, Arizona. It was a push at least. I almost went with 5.5. It was juiced. I wish I did now, but 2 outs away from the win. It was 3-0, bottom 5, 1 out, nobody on base. They walk a guy. Next guy, I think it was Josh Naylor, hits a 2-run bomb, and that's it. 5-0 after 5, and we push. It was just one of those days. Again, a walk hurt us on that one, but this is not me complaining. Again, this is just talking about the reads in the game. Some of you guys, just look at box scores, and this can kind of help you guys out too, but I'm ready to bounce back. We're due for some luck, that's for sure. But that's what we got for the bets recap. We go from plus a little money to down 1.27 units on the season. So that's it. It's now time for the hitter matchups. All right, here we go. We got a ton of good hitter matchups for you. This is page 1. You're going to see we start out with a couple Blue Jays against Nathan Eovaldi, who's been excellent. But Bo Bichette, 8 for 25. Vlad is 10 for 23 off of Eovaldi. And then we bring you the Atlanta Braves section of this page. Austin Riley, 7 for 20. Ozuna, 6 for 20. Ozzie Albies, 6 for 20. All off Rangers, Suarez. And then over there on the right side, you see Alejandro Kirk also. How about 6 for 10 against Nathan Eovaldi? So we got 3 Blue Jays hitters that hit him pretty well. And then some Braves hitters. We got a Goldschmidt down there, 5 for 15 off Tyler Anderson. And then over there on the right side, Chris Taylor, by the way, not a Dodger anymore, now an LA Angel, 5 for 9 with a home run off the lefty Carlos Rodon. So take a screenshot. Hopefully this helps you get some winners. Let's look at page 2, though. We got 4 more. Taylor Ward has been swinging a hot bat, 3 for 8 versus Rodon. Austin Hayes 3 for 7. Dansby Swanson also 3 for 7. He is facing Herman Marquez. So that's what we got for the good matchups. Now let's take a look at the bad matchups. How about 4 Phillies hitters on the left side, and then 2 more on the right side? Bryson Stott, Schwarber, Castellanos, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto. Together, they are horrendous against Spencer Strider. But keep in mind, this is not the Spencer Strider we're used to seeing as of right now. At least his form isn't. So, and then there's Cody Bellinger, 4 for 22 with 5 Ks off Tyler Anderson, and a few more in there as well. So hopefully this helps you get some winners. That's what we got for the hitter matchups. Now let's talk some strikeouts. All right, we have 3 good pitcher strikeout matchups. If you're new to the channel, I like to give you the higher strikeout pitchers on the slate that are facing high strikeout teams. And we got 3 of them for you. It doesn't mean it's an automatic bet, but just helps you with some info. Logan Webb versus the Tiger. Tiger's 9th highest K percentage versus righties last 3 weeks, 22.5%. Webb, as you can see, over a K per inning. Only 4 and 5 Ks though the last 2 starts. But before that, in his last 3 road starts, how about 9, 6, and 12? He does have a higher K rate on the road, 30.1% compared to at home. Something that's surprising. He's usually a better pitcher overall at home, but on the road, he's striking out 30% of batters. And he also has a higher K rate versus righties, as you see there. And then Joe Ryan, the man with 2 first names, facing the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays 7th highest K percentage versus righties in the last 3 weeks, 22.9%. Ryan 67 Ks in 57 innings. He had 7 plus Ks in 4 straight starts until his last start, where he had just 4. Lower K rate on the road though, 27.3 compared to 34.3 at home. And then he has a much higher K rate, 38.5% versus righties, as opposed to only a 21.6 versus lefties. So that's what we got for page 1. Let's check out the final one. We end it with Tyler McGill versus the White Sox. White Sox 12th highest K percentage versus righties. It's a decent matchup. It's borderline, only 21.1%, so right around average. But Tyler McGill, 66 Ks in 48 innings. He has 6 plus Ks in 5 of his last 6 starts, including 10 last start. Slightly higher K rate at home, 32.2% compared to on the road at 30.2%. Much higher K rate versus lefties, 36% compared to 25.6 versus lefties. So that's what we got for the 3 best pitcher strikeout matchups. Now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, here are the first 8 matchups of the day. I try to bring some notes into it just to kind of give you guys an idea. I want to kind of break down all the matchups just slightly. And we start with Carrot Top versus Tanner Bybee. That's right, Dustin May. 8 Ks in back-to-back starts for Dustin May. Finally starting to miss some bats like we expected, but overall still been inconsistent. Facing Tanner Bybee, coming off his best start of the season, 7 innings, 8 Ks, 0 earned runs versus Detroit. It hasn't always been smooth this year for him, but good start there. Palante versus Sugano. Sugano, we know, is probably the best pitcher for Baltimore, which isn't saying much, but he doesn't miss many bats. 13.8% K rate. And by the way, just a reminder, the home runs per 9 now are on the right side to help you out. And then Logan Webb versus Jack Flaherty. Well, Webb is coming off his worst start of the season, probably. We tried to tail him, and he gave up 10 hits and 3 earned runs to the Kansas City Royals in just 4 innings. And then Flaherty just hasn't been very good this year. I don't know what happened to him, but he has a 6 ERA in May so far. Then Spencer Strider hasn't looked himself in the first few starts since injury. We'll see what he does here on the road against the Phillies and Ranger Suarez, who has been pretty dang solid. How about a 2 expected ERA? And then the man with 2 first names, 3 or less earned runs in 8 of 10 starts this year. Been really solid, going up against Taj Mahal. Exactly 2 earned runs allowed in 4 of his last 5 starts. But he did, in the one over, he gave up 5 to Miami. And then Shane Smith, he's been pretty decent. He's an underrated pitcher. How about 3 or less earned runs in all 10 starts this year? I bet you didn't know that. And then Tyler McGill, we've talked about with his Ks, but he's given up 4 or less hits now in 5 of the last 6 games. And he just had his second start where he had 10 Ks this year. And it was pretty impressive. So Brady Singer versus Lynch. Lynch is just an opener. He's going to go like 1, maybe 2 innings. Brady Singer has just not been very good this year. As you can see there, giving up a lot of hits, or not a decent amount of hits, but giving up a lot of walks, below average K rate. Just nothing special there from Brady Singer. But we ended with TBD for Boston versus Aaron Savali. He's only made 2 starts this year, both on the road, so not a lot to go off of there with no pitcher for Boston. Just kind of an ugly one. But that's what we got for page 1. Take a screenshot now. Let's look at page 2, and we start with Herman Marquez versus Cade Horton. We're going to talk about this one later, but you know how I feel about Marquez. Not very good. And then Bowden Francis, again, you saw this last time, 2.68 home runs per 9 innings. It has just not been pretty for him, that's for sure. And then Nathan Eovaldi for the Rangers. He has been so incredibly good. 1 or less earned run given up in 6 straight starts. Just been impressive. And then JP Sears in a mini slump, giving up 10 earned runs and 14 hits allowed in his last 2 starts against the Giants and Angels. And then Hunter Brown. We know he's been elite this year, but then we tried to tail him on a 1-unit play over in his Ks. And if you watch that game, and you guys remember, he was terrible. He didn't have his command because every pitcher I bet on has no idea how to throw a strike. But you know what? Maybe he'll bounce back here at home against the A's. And then Carlos Rodon, only 1 bad start since mid-April. Only 4 hits and 1 earned run allowed now in his last 11 innings. That's pretty impressive with 13 strikeouts. Tyler Anderson, just, a guy doesn't miss many bats, but sits at a 3.5, 4 ERA every season somehow. And then Burrows for Pittsburgh, 5 innings pitched, not much to talk about there. Corbin Burns, really limiting hits this season. He's gotten a lot better than early in the season, but he's still due for some negative regression. You see over a 4 expected ERA. Picking up his swing and miss stuff as well. 18 Ks in his last 2 starts, which is over 13 innings. And then we go to Seattle. Mitchell Parker versus Logan Evans. Parker giving up 3+ earned runs in 5 straight. He was really struggling. Allowed 28 hits in his last 5 starts. And then he had a decent start last time, but still, it's been a little bit of a struggle for him, that's for sure. Giving up, or has a 10.5% walk rate as well with a 15% K rate. Not a good ratio. Logan Evans been okay as a fill-in starter, coming off a 7K game with 4 earned runs allowed versus the White Sox. And then Oscar Mayer. Well, he got back on track last start with 1 earned run allowed in 6 innings versus the Cubs, but before that, the wheels were coming off a little bit, that's for sure. Facing Steven Kolek of the Padres. A rookie, 8 earned runs allowed in the last 2 starts, 2.84 ERA overall still. We'll see how good he is. We don't have a ton of sample size, but average K rate and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we got for the entire pitcher report, all the research help. And now it's time for the best bets. Before we get into our best bets, it is time for the Kalshi trade of the day. If you guys don't know much about it, this is legal in all 50 states. It's like stocks. You're buying, selling contracts, but on all world events, things that interest you, and it is a ton of fun. And speaking of fun, we're going to just throw some money at some temperatures. That's right. So we're going to go to climate up there at the top, as you can see there, and then we're going to find highest temperature in Chicago tomorrow. Why Chicago? Well, the reason is because I've won a bet before here in Chicago, or won a trade. So we're going to go highest temperature in Chicago based on my research, getting my weather hat on. We're going to go 67 to 68 degrees. We're going to pick yes. That's 40 cents per contract. And we're just going to throw $4 on it. We're going to have some fun here. So you go over there, you have $4. There's your payout if you win. Again, as all these, you can buy, sell as they go along. I'm obviously not going to sell anything, but I think it's going to be 67, 68. If you live in Chicago, leave a comment below. Let me know. But anyways, you hit review and you hit done, and that is our call sheet trade of the day. The first 500 people sign up, get a $20 bonus credit. The link is in the description below if you guys want to join. Again, it's a ton of fun and a lot of ways to win some money. So that's what we got for the call sheet trade of the day. All right, this first one takes us out to Wrigley Field where the Cubbies host the Colorado Rockies. Cubs on the money line minus 330. Rockies plus 265. Total of 8 runs. This is insane, the odds here, but I got to take the pitcher to get a win because we're getting Cade Horton to record a win, plus 115 on DraftKings for a half unit here. Again, when you're getting minus 330 on a team and you're getting plus 115 for that starting pitcher to record a win, that's a pretty good deal. So it's the Rockies on the road. We're going to break this down. First, in order to record a win, the pitcher must go 5+ innings, must leave the game with the lead, and the team can never give up that lead. So let's talk Horton. He's a rookie. He's only made 3 starts so far. In those 3 starts, he's already recorded a win in 2 of those 3 against the White Sox and Marlins, 2 offenses that are actually better than the Rockies. But he has a 4.4 ERA, isn't missing a ton of bats, been good at getting ground balls in the 90th percentile of ground ball rate, giving up 3, 3, and 1 earned runs in his 3 starts, so he's doing a decent job. He went 4 innings his first start. Obviously, that's not going to get the job done. Then he went 5 and 5.1, but his pitch count went at just above 90 in his last start, so I'm really expecting to get some more pitches because he was in the 70s the first 2 starts. They're working him up now. So I like that he's stretched out, which means he should go 5+ innings here. His outs line on the sports book is even money for over 17.5 outs. So they think he's going to go 6 innings here, or at least come close to it. And that's what you like to see. But he has a nice 4.8% walk rate because goodness gracious, if I bet on someone who has a high walk rate, they are going to walk 1,800 guys. Hopefully he can limit his walks. And I think he limits his Rockies offense to 1 or 2 runs maybe. And then the Rockies offense, it's terrible. 5th lowest WRC plus versus righties last 3 weeks on the road. Sorry, versus righties in the last month. 3rd lowest on base percentage and 3rd lowest batting average. 4th lowest slugging. Rockies have scored the fewest runs on the road versus righties in the entire season. I mean, they cannot do it. 44 runs have been scored by them in 26 road games. Just think about that. 44 runs in 26 road games, guys. Well under 2 runs per game. I don't even know what to say. Just take their team total under every time, too. But on the other side, Herman Marquez versus a top 5 offense in baseball. He pitched well last start when we faded him, but it's been ugly overall. And he's actually a guy who pitches better in Coors Field. It's weird. But on the road this year, how about an 11.12 ERA with an insane 362 average against? Yes, hitters are hitting 362 off of him on the road. Guys, I just keep laughing at all these Rocky stats. 5.56 xFIP on the road, which is horrendous. The Cubs offense, even with some wind blowing in, they shouldn't have a problem scoring here. No team has scored more runs off righties in the last 3 weeks than the Chicago Cubbies. Finish it off with a terrible Rockies bullpen. Cubs bullpen isn't great either, but again, the Rockies offense is even worse, and the Rockies bullpen is even worse. Books have the Cubs to be in the lead after 5 innings at minus 190. Again, I love the odds here, and over minus 300 to win the game, of course. The Rockies, in case you don't know, on the road are 3-23. Historically bad. We are seeing history, really. Give me Cade Horton to record a win as my first best bet. This second one takes us out to Kansas City, where the Royals host the Cincinnati Reds. Royals moneyline minus 112, Reds on the moneyline minus 108 with a total of 8.5 runs. We're going to the total. Give me the under 8.5 runs, minus 110, 4.5 unit. I know, not fun to do an under. It wasn't fun today watching the Guardians Dodgers under. But we get to fade 2 of the most inconsistent lineups in the league this year. The first reason I really like this bet, though, the weather is awful. The temps in the high 50s, low 60s, wind massively blowing in at like 13, 14 miles an hour. You'd love to see that. Now, we have Brady Singer for the Reds taking the mound in his return to Kansas City, where it all started for him. And he's a guy, when you tailed him in the past, he was great in Kansas City. He had a 3.3 ERA in Kansas City last season. He's a fly ball pitcher. This is a great fly ball park compared to Cincinnati, which is terrible, obviously. I think he's going to be fired up here. I think he's going to pitch really well. It's not really a road start. He's very familiar with this mound, the stadium, all that. Obviously, it's a little different. He's not at his home and all that. But Royals on the other side, it's a bullpen day. They're starting out with Lynch. He's going to throw like 1 inning. They have a great bullpen. It's one of the things that's been helping them win this year. Top 8 bullpen this season, 8th lowest xFIP. I think they pitch well again here. And you know what? I think bullpen days, if you have a good bullpen, they can be tough for the opposing offense. You're facing different pitchers every 1 to 2 innings. It's not as easy. You're not seeing the same pitcher a second, a third time through. So I think they do pretty well here. But offenses, both have struggled mightily this season. We've talked about that. Royals have been more close to average in the last 3 weeks versus righties. We had a surprise game, higher scoring game at 7-4 yesterday. I think that changes here. I think they go back to being a little inconsistent. And I think this Royals bullpen, Brady Singer, can do enough, as well as this weather blowing in. I like the under 8.5 runs as my second best bet. We are back with a hitter parlay. That's right. I took a little break. I needed a little breather, but I have a 1-unit play here. It's a hitter parlay. Give me Jarren Duran and Paul Goldie Goldschmidt, 1+ hit each at minus 115 on DraftKings. Let's talk about Mr. Duran. Now, he's on an absolute roll. He has 2+ hits in 4 of his last 5 games. Not just that. How about 2 or more hits in 8 of his last 13? That's insane. I just need 1, by the way. He hits better off righties. 288 compared to 268. 127 WRC plus versus righties. 37% hard hit rate versus righties compared to just under 24% versus lefties. Facing Aaron Civale. You saw it earlier. He has 4 for 8 off Civale in his career. Savali's only thrown 7 innings, not a big swing and miss guy. He's just an okay pitcher, honestly, if you look at his back last few seasons as well. But behind him is kind of a weaker Brewers bullpen. We haven't said that lately in the last few years, but I think Duran stays hot here. Now, speaking of hot, you're going to hear some stats that I wasn't even aware of. This is insane. Second one, Paul Goldschmidt. He has 1+ hit in 8 of his last 10, but he crushes on the road. As you can see by this outlier screenshot, 1+ hit in 24 of 25 road games. There's no way that kind of streak would break when I bet him, right? Of course not. But versus lefty starters, how about 1+ hit in 10 of 11 games? Hitting an insane 548 off lefties this year. That's video game like 548 on the road. Again, you know he's getting 1+ hit in 24, 25. You know he's got a good average. How about hitting a ridiculous 425 on the road? This man is dominating on the road. He is dominating lefties. Enter Tyler Anderson. You saw it earlier. He's also 5 for 15 off Anderson in his career. Anderson has a higher xFIP, 5.35 versus righties this season. Only a 17% K rate to righties as well. Goldie may be someone you want to bet on his own. Maybe HRRs, maybe total bases, whatever it is. But this is the spot to take him or to bet him. 24 of 25 road games just really caught me off guard. But that's what I got. Give me Goldie, Goldschmidt, and Duran 1+ hit each. That is my 1-unit play, and it's also my third and final best bet on the video. Of course, there'll be more bets to be added. They'll be in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. My 3 best bets so far. Cade Horton to record a win, plus 115, under 8.5 in the Royals-Reds game. And then Jarren Duran and Paul Goldschmidt, 1+ hit each, minus 115. That is my 1-unit play so far. Again, we're going to add more plays in the morning, so be sure to check that pinned comments below. But thank you guys for watching. As always, we are due for just a huge day, a sweep. Let's get it today. Again, go check out that NBA video if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. But hope you guys all have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk to you soon.